What up, live stream? So your buddy, what's your friend's name that comes on our chat every once in a while?
Cameron.
And what's his screen name?
Camo Plays.
That's the one. He hopped on last night when we were getting ready to record Unknown Pod. And last night I was like, all right, I'm gonna man the chat tonight. Because every once in a while we get some people that come in the chat and we don't realize it till like 2 hours later. So I was like, I got this. I want to man the chat. And then that guy came in the chat and said, hey, what's up? And I didn't recognize his name from before, I guess. And then he was like, I'm Lane's friend. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, just a disclaimer, this show is not as kid-friendly as the one I do with Lane. But I can't tell you not to watch it. But and then everybody else was like, it's not that you don't or that you can't watch it. You're probably just not going to find it the least bit interesting because we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff that a 13-year-old ain't going to care about whatsoever, which was a very good point. And he was like, oh, well, I'll stay and check it out for a minute. And then that was the last I heard of him. So that was pretty funny. He said, you gave me a cake at the cakewalk tonight. I said, oh, cool. I hope it was a good one. And I taught everybody else last night that this was a thing.
Pop-up chat.
Nobody else knew that you could pop that out. All right, we don't really have a theme for this episode.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about?
So I just figured we'd kind of do it old school way of doing it. I'd like to talk about going to NXT and Dayton this week for wrestling. So I'd like to talk about my Green Jello concert.
I never got to play Tetris.
All right, we can talk about it for just a minute. Is there anything else that you would like to add? We don't really have like a main topic.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we don't have one, it's whatever.
I can't think of anything else.
We'll just leave it at that for now then. Can even be a short episode for that matter. I don't really care. But
We really don't have like, anything to talk about besides those things. And those things I don't think we'll be talking about for too long.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, now I am.
All right, here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Howdy Radio, the next generation, episode 41. I'm Brandon.
I'm Lane.
And here we go. We don't really have a topic this week. We don't have it's not the TV episode or the wrestling episode or the whatever. So we also don't have Taggart with us here today. So it's kind of an old school way of doing it. We're just going to kind of break it down into a couple different segments and just talk about whatever we want to talk about. So how you been since last week?
Good. You've had some exciting things happen to you in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I had a really cool concert that I went to a couple nights ago. We'll get to that here in a minute. Shout out to your buddy we were just talking about before we went on the air. What's your buddy's name? Cameron. So shout out to him. He stopped by last night in the Unknown Pod chat on YouTube. And so just saying hey to him for stopping by. Told him, not exactly the same kind of show as Howdy Radio. I said we'll be doing Howdy Radio tomorrow afternoon, so stop back by then. But it doesn't look like he stopped back by yet. But if he does, what's up, dude? So yesterday was the cakewalk. Cameron saw me at the cakewalk. He said I gave him a cake. I think we talked about the cakewalk a year ago on an episode, did we not?
Probably.
But how about for all of our new listeners, you fill them in on what is the cakewalk?
Cakewalk is a huge band event. Well, like the band's play and stuff like that.
So the band at school is what it is.
Yeah. And there are these huge like circles, kind of like musical chairs, and the band will play, and then they'll stop, and then you sit down in a numbered seat, and then they call a number, and then you get like a token if that's you, and you go get a cake.
Yep. So it's kind of musical chairs ish, but not where there's there's not 30 people in the circle, but 29 chairs. There's enough chairs for everybody. But then, like Lane said, like, there's at one point that was like maybe 8 of these circles with probably about 25 people or so in each circle. I think it was 25 actually.
Well, it's 30 seats, but
30 seats.
But sometimes they don't fill up all of them. But they try to.
So then you sit down, and then the person with the microphone's like, "All right, number 13, you win." So that person in that chair gets a token, and then that's when they come see me. I'm the guy that's handing out the cakes to everybody. I think last night we started off. I didn't volunteer at the very beginning, so I didn't actually get to see how many cakes there were at the start. But I was told that was about 550 cakes to begin with, which is just an insane amount of cake.
And I got the last one.
Yeah, that's true. So
and it was the best one. I've already ate like a fourth of it this morning.
Came home with 3 cakes last night, which is it's up from last year, but down from previous.
I got 3 last year.
I got 3 last year. Okay, I thought we had less than that last year. So it's fun. It's a big fundraiser for the band here at at their school. Tyler's in the band, Lane's in the band. Me and Liz met in band. Band is kind of our thing, so we definitely try to help out with that kind of stuff when we can. So when you bring the token up to the table, I'm the guy that I take your token and I hand you a cake and I say, "Good job, thanks, here you go," something like that. And it's cool because the kids are always very excited. And they're like, "Yeah, I won cake." But there's always a few adults that really get on my nerves because they're the ones that open the box and look at it and decide it's not what they wanted. And I understand, like, it sucks to, like, get a cake that you don't want. Everybody wants a cake that they like, but like there's 550 cakes. Like, we can't sit there and wait for you to find one that you want, because that's not fair to all the other people. If everybody was able to do that, it would just completely ruin the event. But there are some adults that just can't comprehend that. Yeah. I paid 50 cents to play this game and I didn't get the cake I wanted. And that I hate that. That makes me a little mad. The kids are never that way. The kids are always just, I got a cake. Yeah. But there are some adults. And then last year I told them, I said, you need a sign that says that there is no trading or anything like that. And they listened and they put up, it was a regular just piece of paper that they laminated and put on the table. They had like a big picture of a cake and then little text at the bottom that said no trading, no exceptions, which I appreciate that they did it, but it was executed very poorly. Like, there needs to be a big sign that like simply says that. But regardless, it was still a ton of fun. We get to watch both of our kids play a couple times. Tyler played a couple times last night.
I played once.
Lane played once, but it was cool. But then the evening ended terribly with a fire alarm going off, and there ended up being a fire in what apparently was the girls' bathroom because of somebody smoking. So not cool, whoever that person was. If you're listening to this show right now, shame on you. But nobody was hurt or anything, but that's positive. But ending the cakewalk with the Deer Park Fire Department out front of the building, not a great ending to a night. So that part kind of sucked, but fun night. I always enjoy the cakewalk. It's cool. Yeah, all the family usually comes out for that. It's cool. Yeah. So 3 cakes. How many of them were chocolate? Because those are the only ones that matter.
I think 2 of them were chocolate.
What was the other one?
I don't know. I think the other one was just like white cake.
Okay. And then there's another like portion to it is like some people like, some of the cakes people just buy, like they'll go to the grocery store and just like buy a cake.
That's the one that's what other ones I have.
Some of them, a lot of them, parents of the band, they make cakes. Like Saturday afternoon, Liz baked 10 cakes and took them in. And a lot of people do stuff like that. But then there's some people that are really good at baking and decorating
Yeah.
cakes. So there's like this separate thing that is like the cake decorating contest.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 cakes, and essentially you bid on them. So you're like, this cake is cool. I'll bid $5 on it.
Yeah.
And then whoever gets the highest bid is the one that wins the decorating contest. And the one that won last night, it was a cake that looked like a ginormous cupcake. It was like a maybe like 8 or 10 inch like cake that looked like it was in foil, and it looked like a big old cupcake. And I thought that was the coolest thing. And that's the one that won
for $30.
$30. Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody, and I thought about it. Like when I first saw it at the beginning of the night, I was like, I might end up having to throw some money at that. And then I started looking at it towards the end, and it was up to like $30.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, I'm not going to pay more than $30 for a cake.
Yeah.
And the person that was bidding on it was like still standing there at the table at the end. Like she obviously wanted that one.
Yeah.
So, oh well. But it was cool.
Probably funny if the person that made the cake bid on it.
Yeah.
It's like, I made this cake, I want to eat it.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was that one and one other one is the woman that made it's kind of a friend of the family, and she told us that she made the 2 cakes and just brought them in to donate them, that they weren't intended to be a part of the cake decorating contest. But then as they were kind of like getting all the cakes together and they like saw how cool they looked, that they just kind of entered them in the decorating without her even really knowing it. Just because they looked as cool as they did. But
the money go to her?
No, no.
To the band.
Yeah, all just like anything else. All the money goes to the band. Yeah. So I mean, I thought that was kind of cool. Like she ended up winning, and she didn't even really intend to enter the contest. And I think that's pretty cool of her. That like
she just, like a gift card or something like that.
No. I mean, not that I'm aware of. But I think that's cool of her that she made such a cool looking cake that like she just intended on like somebody else just getting.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
What else, man? Do we want to do a segment break and then talk about something? Because we've got like a weird setup this week.
I don't think we need to.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Transition music. I'd rather just break it up a couple times. You want to do wrestling or green jello first?
I'm wrestling. Because you will be the green jello person.
Yeah.
So it was crazy last night. I was getting a bunch of Snapchat messages because I posted on my story about the fire and everything. Like, because a lot of people had already left and didn't know about it. So I wanted to inform people. And then everybody just like, oh, give me more info. And I was texting people for like an hour and a half telling people stuff.
Yeah, that's understandable. There's probably a lot of people that were like, what the heck happened? Ready? You want to bring it in?
What are you talking about?
Wrestling. Bring it in and say. So we got a couple cool wrestling shows coming up this week.
So we got some cool wrestling shows coming up this week. That was bad, yeah.
Ready?
So we have a couple cool wrestling shows coming up this week. What are some of them, Dad?
We got 2 of them. I'm glad we're talking about wrestling on this podcast. I feel like we're overdue for a good wrestling conversation. Yes. No, just talking about where we're going to.
Yeah.
We got 2 good shows coming up this week, Thursday night and Friday night, back-to-back nights of wrestling, which is always cool. Like when that happens with a concert and stuff. So this Thursday we're going to travel here from Cincinnati up to Columbus, Ohio, to go see our very first NXT show. Are you excited about that?
Yes.
Yeah. So
especially because it's a lot more professional than like Rockstar and those kind of shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think the production value will be a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And like a casket match, we'll just have a casket in the middle of the ring.
For sure. Yeah.
So I feel like maybe not as like stylish moves, but like some cool things will definitely happen there.
Yeah, I mean, NXT wrestlers, I think they do way cooler moves than anybody in the WWE does. So I think wrestling-wise, we're in for a really great show. Yeah, this will be our first NXT show. So for the people that don't know, NXT is like the minor league of WWE. I don't know.
What is it? What does NXT stand for?
Next, like the next superstars, I think. I
think
there's actually.
I think it also stands for something.
I don't think there's an anagram.
I think it's new something talent.
Okay. Extreme talent? Probably not extreme.
I don't think, but it's new something talent. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I don't know.
I'll look it up.
If anybody knows, let us know. Tweet us and fill us in, or we could just look it up ourselves.
Yeah.
So they're it's a WWE company. They're owned by WWE. It's kind of where like
but better than mainstream.
Yeah, it's typically as far as wrestling goes, it's a better product than like WWE Raw or SmackDown or whatever. Like they have better wrestling there. That's what they concentrate more on is the wrestling, which is what we're more into. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stars that are in NXT that have been like in these other indie feds, and then once they get hired by WWE, they typically go to NXT for a little while before they kind of get what they call promoted to the main roster. But then there's a lot of times where it's like, I wish that guy would have stayed on NXT because he was good on NXT, and then they moved him to Raw, and then like now he's pointless. Which kind of is one of the things that happened this last week. There was a handful of guys that made their debut on Raw this week who were like some of the best guys on NXT. So kind of bad timing for us going to see our first show because it doesn't look like we'll get to see those people.
I don't want to be shocked if they come back.
Yeah, maybe they will.
Yeah,
but it's only a house show. It's not like a TV taping or a pay-per-view or anything.
I think Velveteen Dream will definitely be there because he just won. I think Johnny Gargano, who was the like world champion in the NXT, he just lost the belt.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's probably not going to come back.
No, probably not. And Ricochet as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and he's the main one I would like to see because he became one of my favorites when we started watching Lucha Underground.
Yes.
And then just kind of getting back into like this whole side of wrestling. He was one of my very favorite ones early on.
Yeah.
So kind of a bummer that it looks like we might not see him. Yeah. For all I know, there might be a whole card announced for this show, and they might have them all listed. I honestly don't know. I haven't looked. So one of the things that downside to this show, I had my buddy Kyle from Iconoclash. He lives in Columbus, so I had him go pick up tickets for me because it's stupid how much you have to pay in surcharges. Although now I have to figure out a way to get tickets from him before the show, which is kind of something I didn't think through as well as I should. So I'm going to have to go to Kyle before we go to the arena on Thursday, which is going to waste some time. But
how far away is Columbus?
About an hour and a half, 45 minutes, hour 45.
That's not that bad.
But we're going to have to go out of the way to go to Kyle's to go back to the arena, which is kind of
like how far away is Kyle's house?
Probably, I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to look it up. And I need to talk to Kyle about the logistics of it all. I haven't figured that out. But it saved us a few dollars. But now looking back at it, maybe it wasn't worth it because now
at least I don't have school that day, though.
But I have work. So I'll be out at like 2 or 2:30, and then we'll be able to hit the road.
But that still saves an hour if I had school.
So. The school part definitely for sure makes a big difference. But the reason for wanting to get up there as soon as possible is that our $20 tickets that we bought are general admission. So we don't have an actual assigned seat to us, which was fine by me. For a concert, general admission typically means that I get to be right up front.
Yeah.
But of course, there's going to be people that have general admission tickets that are going to line up to get the good seats and everything.
Yeah.
But then the kicker to it was that once Kyle went and got the tickets for us and he sent me a picture of the tickets, it says standing room only. And I had no idea that I was buying standing room only tickets. I don't think it said it on the website. If it did, I missed it. So I'm not real thrilled about the possibility of having to stand for an entire wrestling show. However,
they aren't as long though as like regular.
Yeah, it's not going to be like a 4 hour. Like that Rockstar show was like 4 hours long. Yeah, it'll probably be like 2 hours. Show, yeah. However, this is not the first time that NXT has played this venue in Columbus, and I did a Google image search to see what it looks like. And first of all, it looks awesome because it's, a smaller place and it's packed and it just the
So
picture.
it's not really a bad seat.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Every single person in the picture had a seat. So I don't understand the standing room part of it. Like every single person in the picture is seated.
Okay.
So I don't know where
Do you know when that did you see the date on that photo?
I don't know when it was that they went. Maybe they've changed the seating since
that's what I
then.
would think.
Don't know. So I'm pretty intrigued of how this is going to work. You and I have been to a lot of wrestling shows, a good amount of wrestling shows, and I have never once had to stand for one.
Yeah.
Not one, not a single one. So
we've only been to like 5 wrestling shows. I haven't been to a lot.
Right. Well, I have been to a whole lot more than that in my life. And I've been to a lot of really crappy wrestling shows, and I have never once had to stand. So if I go to NXT and have to stand, I find that to be very odd. But there might just be a certain section in this place that was the $20 tickets, and you stand and watch. And I think that may be what we're getting ourselves into. But so hopefully we'll be able to.
At least it won't be 4 hours.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So that's Thursday night. Big NXT show. Driving to Columbus, road trip for that. Friday night. You want to tell them what the Friday night one is?
After you
yawn.
Is it so Rockstar Pro Wrestling. That's what we went to about a month ago. About that.
That's when we met Billy Gunn.
Yes.
Yep.
And this time it's at the new building, and it's Rockstar versus Impact, right? So like all the Impact people are gonna be there, and like Brian Cage is gonna be there.
Yeah.
That one girl that fought Brian Cage.
No,
what is her name?
I was hoping she was going to be there, Jordan Grace.
Yeah,
but they have not announced that she is there.
Okay. But
Johnny Impact, he'll be there. But side note on what you said about their new building, it's actually not at their new building.
Oh.
So when me and you went to that show like a month ago.
Oh yeah, they said that they had one more.
No, hold on.
Oh.
So that one was the last big show that they had at their arena that they ran like the last 15 years. But then there was like one more show after that was just like a normal weekly show. And then that was their big final show. That was like 3 days after the one that we went to. So then now this one tomorrow, this Friday night, is supposed to be their first show at their new venue that they're opening up called Turnbuckles and Brews. And it's like a bar / wrestling place that's going to like, host their shows, but then you can also like go sit at the bar and watch wrestling on the TV, which is a super cool idea. However, the show, because it's an Impact show, also it sold out so quickly, and everybody was like kind of mad at them that like it sold out so quickly. They ended up working with the Dayton Convention Center, and they ended up booking there. So they've switched venues. So it's not even the grand opening of their new place because they wanted to be able to accommodate all the people.
It's still going to have like a bunch of open seats because it's going to be so big.
Yeah, so it's $12 for the general admission seats, which is what we'll be doing. But yeah, I mean, I kind of hate that it didn't end up being their big grand opening because, of course, they were looking forward to that. But that's a great problem to have, that you've got so many more people that's wanting to buy tickets.
Especially when you're moving to a new place because you're growing. And then you move to a new place when you're getting bigger and you sold out immediately. Yeah.
And it was funny. They said on their Twitter the same thing that AEW said on theirs, is that I think we're going to need a bigger building.
Yeah.
So pretty funny that they're also able to make that reference. So it's really cool because here in Cincinnati, we've mentioned like we got a local Fed here in Cincinnati it's all right. But it looks like in Dayton is like where they're really kind of starting to do something with the current independent wrestling. So at least, it's a 45-minute drive for us. It's not exactly like in our backyard, but it's at least we have an option that is, starting to get some cool stuff, and it's not too far away from us. So that's cool. Because when they announced this, I mean, there was literally the possibility of, once they started announcing some Impact people, there was the possibility that the Lucha Bros were going to be announced for this show because they're on Impact. So therefore, if Lucha Bros are announced, then like the Young Bucks very well could have showed up.
Yeah.
But they have not announced the Lucha Bros. So we're not getting that kind of cool stuff quite yet.
You never know. Young Bucks could show up and get Brian Cage. And like,
you're right.
never know anymore.
You're right.
Especially at a bigger show like that. Like at the tinier shows, like I feel like it wasn't too possible. But like on these bigger shows where it's a big convention center with a bunch of people.
And this one's live on Twitch.
I think that's like exactly what might happen then.
It's Impact's weekly show. They have their weekly show every Friday night, and it's streamed on Twitch, and you can watch it. So if you're sitting around this Friday night and you want to watch the wrestling that we're at, maybe even see us on TV, turn on Twitch, search for Impact Wrestling. I think it's on at like 8 or 9 o'clock or something like that.
I thought it was funny. It's actually kind of funny because when we were watching something for Double or Nothing, and they showed a clip of All In, you were like, it is so cool watching these clips and trying to look for yourself.
Every time.
It is so cool.
Yep. And every single, every time on BTE, on Being the Elite, the show that these guys put on YouTube, I mean, there's almost every episode, they show like the big wide pan shot of the Sears Center Arena with All In. And like, we were a little too high up in the stands to be seen on the show, but we know exactly where we were. Yeah. So like my eyes always go like I was right there. Yeah. And every single time they show that, like the feeling,
you look straight there.
Yeah. And every time, like I mean, I know for me at least, like I feel the exact same feeling that I felt when I was sitting in that arena at that time. And to be able to relive that just by looking at a picture of that is phenomenal. And that shows how much fun that weekend was. So one of the Young Bucks just tweeted a day ago because they showed up to fight Lucha Bros at a show in Chicago. Oh. So they fought there. So then the tweet that one of them made after the show was, "I love Chicago." So my reply was, I hope I can get tickets for All In too, because of course that's what they were teasing at a little bit there. So hopefully we can get tickets for All In too.
Did they say anything to you? No.
No, a couple people liked my tweet, but there was no response or
you should have just anything. Replied and just said maybe. Period.
Yeah, definitely. So there's been a lot of times in my life that I've gone to back-to-back nights of concerts. I don't think I've ever gone to back-to-back nights of wrestling. Yeah. I even said to Liz the other day, I said, I think this year I'm kind of going to spend my money that I have to spend on going to stuff on wrestling instead of concerts this year.
That's new.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm not saying I just went to a concert a couple nights ago, and we'll get there in just a second. But I want to go see some wrestling this year, and I want to create a list on my phone that's all the wrestling shows I go to, just like the concerts and everything. Yeah, I want to go see as much wrestling as I can this year. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Cool. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Do we want to do Tetris and Green Jello together? Because they're both that kind of smaller things.
Maybe. It might take me a minute to go through Green Jello, though.
I don't want that to be super long.
I won't make it super long, but I want to tell the story. Maybe we can add on Tetris to the outro.
Okay.
Just gotta mention it in there because we don't have much to say.
And I haven't even played it. I wish I would have played it so I could say more about it.
All right, you ready? Ready?
Yeah.
All right, so Friday night, 2 nights ago, me and Taggart and one of my other buddies, David, went to see the band Green Jello or Green Jelly, whatever you want to call them. If you're not familiar with them, they had a pretty big hit back in 1993, the Three Little Pigs song, Little Pig, Let Me In, Not by the Hair. Everybody knows that song. Had a very popular video back when videos were a really popular thing back in 1993. It was a cool claymation video. So I went to go see them on Friday night. Do you like Green Jello, Lane?
I like that one song.
You like Three Little Pigs?
That's it.
All right, so you, as a 13-year-old, are probably way more familiar with the rest of their songs because of me listening to them, whereas most people just know the Three Little Pigs song. Yeah. So you know more of their stuff. So
Yeah.
you say you like Three Little Pigs.
I don't like anything else.
But you legitimately like Three Little Pigs. Like, that's a cool song to you.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think you and Tyler both have like always kind of liked that song, which is pretty cool. But the rest of their stuff, why don't you like?
Because it's awful.
Because it's awful. That's
It's
that's completely
so
fair.
dumb.
It is very dumb. Yes, they're like a comedy rock kind of thing.
I've never seen the guy before. Like when you were showing me the videos and stuff, I've never seen like the lead singer before.
What you have now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I did not expect that. I did not expect a big buff guy.
Oh, he's not big and buff. He's like 5 feet tall.
No, but he looked pretty buff.
Okay. I mean, he's in good shape, I guess. Yeah, but I don't think he's buff. He's got a bald head.
Yeah, but like,
so that's Bill Manspeaker. He is the singer and creator of Green Jello. He started the band back in like the early 80s, and there has just been about 1.5 billion band members that have come and gone over the years. He's the only one that anybody cares about. Like, it doesn't matter who the guitarist is or anything like that. But
as long as they're able to play the music.
Yeah. Everybody pays to get in to see Bill Manspeaker and to be entertained by him. That's how it is. But fun little side note: when the album was made, Serial Killer was the name of the album. Cereal, as in like the cereal that you eat. Because there's a song about killing all of the different cereal mascots, like the Trix Rabbit and all that.
Oh, is that the Captain Crunch or whatever?
Yeah, they killed 3 different cereal mascots in one song. So back on that album, one of their drummers for the band was Danny Carey, who later went on to be the drummer of Tool, and this was pre-Tool. And the voice that's on the Three Little Pigs song that does the "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin" is Maynard James Keenan, who is the singer of Tool. And Danny and Maynard did not know each other until Green Jello happened, until they were both helping record this album. They were both just friends of Bill Manspeaker. So because of Green Jello, there's Tool. And that's one of the coolest things ever. So we went to the show Friday night. This is my second time seeing him. I never got to see him way back in the day. But I was way more of a fan than just Three Little Pigs. The whole Serial Killer soundtrack album, I listened to from front to back so many times, as I was 12 when it came out. And it was one of my favorite tapes. I absolutely loved it. So I saw him a few months ago and had an absolute blast. It was good. We drank a few beers before the show, and we did the same this time. So this time was exceptionally fun because as Green Jelly was getting ready to start their show, I told my buddies that I was going to go run and use the bathroom real quick. And on my way back there, they're setting up for what is called the Punk Rock Puppet Show, which is kind of the main thing about the show, minus Bill Manspeaker. So there's all these crazy characters in the world of Green Jello. There's the pigs, there's the cow god, there's all these different characters that all the different songs are about, really. The guy and Bill Manspeaker makes these masks that you put on that are actually made out of couch cushions and duct tape and just all kinds of very low budget weird things. But before the show starts, there's maybe 15 of these things. And before the show starts, different fans get to put them on. The show starts. Bill comes out on stage, says, "Bring out the puppets." And then they come from like the back of the room and get up on stage. And it's like this big thing. And the crowd goes nuts because the puppets are here. And that's, kind of the selling point here. So as I'm going to the bathroom, there's a guy standing back there. There's a bunch of people standing back there with these heads on. And then a guy says to me, "Here, put this on. It's the last one." And I was trying to head to the bathroom because I really had to pee because I had quite a few beers at that point. But you can't turn that down when you've
even if you pee yourself.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. So I put this head on. The head that I was wearing was of a character called Orange Crunch, which was off of their second album, not the Serial Killer album. That was probably why it was like the last mask. Nobody wanted that one. It was huge. It was very uncomfortable. It was very bulky. and it wasn't like one of the main like characters of it. But I was like, this is cool. Like I'm actually like, I started thinking back, like if 12-year-old me knew that like I was sitting here with one of these green jello like heads on, getting ready to go get on stage while they perform Three Little Pigs. No, like that 12-year-old me would have like lost it and like been so excited. And 37-year-old me was too. So they start with the Green Jello Sucks song, as you know, everybody kind of just parades from the back of the room to the stage with these crazy heads on. And then on stage we go, and jumping around and moshing on stage, and then Three Little Pigs starts. And to be on stage during Three Little Pig, you know, a part of the show in costume and everything, that was a cool moment. That's for me, that's pretty awesome. Taggart didn't know where I was at first because I told him I was going to go. Side note, Taggart's not here today because he rocked out so hard Friday night and lost his voice at the concert that he literally hasn't been able to talk for 2 days. So he didn't want to do the show because he didn't want to sound terrible. So that's why Taggart's not here. We rocked hard, but he didn't know I was up on stage, and he's like, "Where's Brandon?" Like he went to go pee, and like now he's missing Three Little Pigs. And then he said he thought to himself, like, I wonder if he got up on stage. I wonder if he's a part of the puppet show. And I'm on the stage looking at Taggart because he was, you know, right on the floor right there. But he did not know it was me, but he was still just rocking. And he's got video of the whole thing from his angle too, which is cool. But then like halfway through the song, like I saw Taggart, and he kind of like, he saw me and he saw my head coming through this stupid mask that I was wearing. And he like pointed at me and like, yeah, and like realized that I was on stage. So I stayed on stage through Three Little Pigs, and like half the people on stage left the stage at that point. Some people stayed on stage, but those masks are so uncomfortable and sweaty and probably extremely gross, if we're being honest. So I took my head off and put it down and proceeded to...
You took your head off.
Yeah, proceeded to mosh my little heart out for the next hour of my life, as in... 37-year-old, best as a 37-year-old man can do. I had an absolute blast. Like that's somewhere in like my top 10 concert moments of all time, of just being able to say I did that. It was so much fun. I had a blast. I got some cool pictures and videos on my Instagram if you want to check it out. Because Taggart was on the floor taking pictures, I ended up with some cool pictures of me on stage, which was pretty cool. But then I also posted a little video that I recorded while I was on stage, and he was doing Three Little Pigs. So that was cool.
Yep.
So yeah, Lane's falling asleep, but I wanted to tell my Green Jello story. That's one for the ages. I got a ticket stub, and I got a pic from it. So you people on the Ustream, or I called it the Ustream. That's a decade old at this point. On YouTube, can see that there.
Even if it doesn't focus.
Green jelly pic right there. Pretty awesome.
You can still see what it is, even if it doesn't focus.
That's all right. So yeah, super, super, super cool night. I was glad I got to do that and tell the story. Sorry, I put you to sleep, Lane.
I'm just tired. I didn't actually fall asleep.
I know, it's just kidding.
I'm just tired. Jello. You should have put jelly instead of Jello. This is all just you I barely talked.
All right. All right, you bring this in too.
A new teaser for the next season of Fortnite came out a couple minutes ago.
Ooh.
Well, we have like 3 more days on Tuesdays when it comes out.
Oh my god. All right.
Bring it in.
Outro. We'll throw in Tetris in there, but bullshit for a minute.
Okay, so that's our show.
Yeah, I think that's our show. We
don't
have a whole lot to talk about today.
Not a super long show.
That's all right.
But we do have one more thing to talk about, which is Tetris 99.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to throw that in there.
It came out the day of the Nintendo Direct that we talked about last week, which you should go listen to. And I had not played it, but Dad and Taggart played it before they went to go see Green Jello. And what did you think about it?
Yeah, so we're not able to play it on our Switch because we modded ours, and this is to me a huge downside to the mod. And as dumb as that sounds, but like I've been a huge Tetris fan since I had a Game Boy, including all of the different weird ones. So like this is one that like I was really looking forward to play, and it kind of sucks that we can't. It really sucks that we can't actually.
Is it fun? Is it like really?
So Taggart was talking about having it on his, and I was like, "Oh, do me a favor. Next time you come out, bring your Switch with you because I do really want to check that out. That's the easiest way for me to be able to check it out." I loved it. It's awesome. It's you got your your play board there in the middle of the screen, and then on each side of the screen there's like 50 and 50 on each side, and they're real small. I mean, you have a really small time seeing them. But you're kind of, and I only played it a few times, so I'm not exactly sure like how all of the attacks work and stuff. But you know, there's as you,
Oh, you can use power ups and like
well,
block people.
yeah, like as you delete lines, then it like adds it to other people's boards.
Oh,
so you know you're working on what you got.
so it's not even just who's the best. It's just
yeah.
I thought it was just
no
who can survive the longest
no.
time.
There's a whole lot more going on than that. Like it's very fast paced. It's not just plays Tetris and see who lasts the longest. Because
does it like start off at like level 10?
No, you start
basically?
off like a regular Tetris game
Okay.
with a completely clear board. But like and then it shows like on the sides, like you know where it shows the other people's game boards. It'll show like who's attacking you even. It'll like show a quick line that'll like draw a line from their board to your board, and like that's. You know, and then your board will start to fill up real quick. And
You know,
then
like,
you've got
screw that guy.
yeah. So I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if there's a way to like screw that guy back specifically, or like I wasn't really.
Did you play with the 2 controllers or just the 1?
I played it with the Switch put together as a
Okay.
handheld.
I thought you would put it on the TV.
No, as a handheld, and you have to use the D-pad. You can't use the analog stick, which was something that Taggart like warned me off the bat. But Tetris is a D-pad, not an analog.
So you had you can't play with a single Joy-Con then?
I didn't try. I have no idea.
Because then you can't only use the D-pad if you have
the analog stick on your left controller did nothing. You had to use the buttons as the D-pad. But me being the old gamer that I am, for games like that, I always default to that anyway. Yeah. So that wasn't a problem for me whatsoever. But I had an absolute blast playing it. So
I wish I would have been able to play it.
Yeah, next time he comes out, we'll make sure that you get to play it.
Which will be like tomorrow or something like that.
Could be. Well, Thursday when we go.
Is he going with us?
He's going with us to NXT. Yeah, so he can bring it for the car trip. We can connect to one of our hotspots, and you can.
Well, we don't have a limit of hotspots, do we?
We're fine. Yeah, so you could check it out then. So make sure you bring your Switch with you, Taggart. I know you're listening. The very first time I played, so it's called Tetris 99. You start off with 99 people, and you get eliminated as you go.
It would be you and then 49 people on each side.
The first time I played it, I got 3rd place. I was super happy about that.
Without knowing power-ups, too.
Yeah. And one of the cool things
it might just be good for you just to not use power-ups. If you're doing that well, it'll just distract you.
One nice thing about it is you can hold a piece. It shows you at the top left of your screen, you can press the L button and it'll hold a piece. So say you've got like the long straight line coming down right now and you don't really have anywhere to put it, or, you know, it's just not the ideal piece, or you think like, ooh, I'd rather have this for later, which is what I think about with the long piece. So you hit L and it puts it up in this little corner in the top left, and it's saved. So it's just up there now. So then if later on goes by and then like I've got a perfect space for that long one, I can press L again and it'll swap it out and give me that piece.
That's been a thing in Tetris games for a little while now.
Okay.
Since like the last 20 years of freaking Tetris.
Okay. So I like that. I'm used to playing it on the older systems. Yeah. So I'm still not.
I want to play it in VR. I want to play it on PlayStation VR.
Yeah, I heard
Tetris
that is cool.
Effect.
Kyle has that, and I think he said it.
Time to go to Kyle's house.
Okay. Well, we'll also going on there on Thursday.
So we got to go super early. Get those tickets. Play some PlayStation VR.
Yep. But if I remember correctly, Kyle's review of it was that he wasn't that great. He was like, it was just like Tetris was in front of you, and then there was like some other stuff off to the sides or whatever. But it wasn't.
What other VR games does he have? Do you know?
I don't know. I really don't.
I just want to try it out because I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah.
And
So I was
I've
super
never
excited.
done VR either.
Yeah,
well,
same
besides
here.
like not like game VR.
Yeah.
I've looked at pictures in VR.
Yeah. Possibly if once I ever get around to getting this new computer, I'm hoping that my new computer will be at least good enough to run some VR. So that might be a possibility.
Then you have to spend 3 times more than your computer to get some VR.
Yeah.
What you should get if you ever get VR, you should get a Vive.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
We could do like Howdy Radio in VR.
Because that's
we could
like
get VR cameras.
You put the cameras on each corner of the walls,
Yeah.
and it's like all actually move around ones. So you need HTC Vive.
Okay, I'll get right on that.
Yes.
So yeah, I got 3rd place the first time I played it. I was super happy
Yeah.
about that. And then I played it a couple more times the next day before Taggart headed out. I did not do as well that time. I got 29th the first time, which is still cool. But then I got like 80 or 90 or something, and I did really terrible the last couple times I played it. But I loved it. I thought it was
also
super cool
because
game.
people were just getting used to it by then. That's probably also a thing too. If you play at the beginning, it's easier to win because nobody knows what they're doing.
Well, I mean, the game's been out for a couple weeks by the time I had played it.
Oh.
Don't discredit how good I am at Tetris.
No, I'm well with the power ups and everything.
Yeah,
because that's a big new element.
It is,
and I'm not in the camera.
However, I pride myself at being pretty awesome at Tetris. I always have.
I never
been.
said you were.
Yeah. So, so I was pretty proud of getting a 3rd place right off the bat. But like now, I can't play it now because I don't have Taggart's Switch. But I would love to like. That's one that I would sit there and play because I'd want to get a 1st place so bad.
Yeah. Number 1 victory. Oh yeah.
Huge.
I wonder what it says when you win.
I don't know.
Number 1 Tetris Royale.
Taggart was like, "Oh, cool, thanks, man," because it saves all your stats and everything. He's like, "Cool, now it looks like I got a 3rd place finish," because he had not got that high yet. So,
usually it's the opposite. Usually people like when I go to like my friend's house, they like want me to play on my account because they don't want me to like mess up the KD or something like that.
Yeah.
Instead of, hey, you just got me a really good like 1st place finish. Thanks.
Yeah.
Now you just got me a 99th place finish.
Yep. So I mean, modding our Switch was something that we decided as a collective to do, but there has most certainly been times since it's been modded that I have regretted modding it, and now this is one of added to that list. I wish I could play this game. So,
well. Still have to pay for it online though.
Yeah, that's true. It is free, but you have to pay for the $20 a year thing, right?
Yeah,
I forgot about that. I was thinking it was just free. But not exactly.
Online. It's an only online game.
That makes sense. Well, right on. So yeah, if you got a Switch and you've got the online thing, download Tetris 99 if you're a Tetris fan.
Yep.
Because that makes sense.
Yes.
Cool. I think that's our show for today. We talked about wrestling, music,
outro we've ever had,
and video games.
Yeah.
We covered them all today.
Yes. Literally one of the longest outros ever.
How about for next week's episode, we challenge ourselves to not mention wrestling, music, or video games.
It's literally impossible. That's our whole life.
Let's do it.
There's nothing else we can talk about.
I know. It'll be very challenging.
Like a 5-minute episode.
No, but let's do it. Seriously. Like, I mean, we deserve to challenge ourselves to come up with something different, right? Like, we always have to come up with something different. So that's it. I'm calling it right now. Our challenge. The name of next week's episode is the episode where we don't talk about video games, music, or wrestling. Crap. Although next week is going to be after we go to these 2 wrestling shows, and we're going to want to talk about that.
We'll talk about that on the outro. Like on the outro, we'll just be like, "Oh, hey, so this thing happened, and then this thing also happened." We never said anything. See?
But if we're gonna do it, we gotta like for real do it. Maybe the week after that we could do that because I want to talk about going to the wrestling shows. I know it'll just keep getting pushed back.
If Young Bucks come to the show, we'll talk about it next week. If they do not, we'll talk about it the week after. Fair?
I don't know.
Fair.
Maybe we just won't talk about anything.
We have like a 1 in like a million chance.
Well, yeah.
Of doing this.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. Maybe we'll only talk about going to the shows, and then that'll be it. Because I don't want to not talk about something cool that we go do. That's the point of this show. It just happens to be more wrestling. So whatever. All right, man.
All right.
That's our show. Thanks for listening and watching, everybody. Check out howdyinc.com for all of your Howdy Inc. needs.
Yes.
We got all of the episodes of Howdy Radio, The Next Generation on there. We've got all the episodes of The Unknown Podcast. If you haven't checked that out, check that out. We're up to 27 episodes of that now. We're rocking that one.
Yeah.
And that can all be found on
That
The
might
Unknown.
pass us in a little while.
Could, yeah. TheUnknownPod.com is where you can find that. HowdyInc.com has all of it. Also, check out my buddy Kyle, who does The Unknown Pod with us sometimes. He has his show, Iconoclash, which you can find at iconoclash.net or keezy.com, I do believe. And he just started a new podcast called Deck One Dealt with his buddy Derek, who is, he's done some stuff with Howdy Inc. He was a big part of Ninja Land. So him and Kyle have started a new podcast. Their first episode came out yesterday, so check that out.
What is it about?
It's about ICP and being a juggalo, is what it is. And I said that like I sounded really disappointed about it, and I shouldn't have.
That's what Howdy Inc. is. That's what literally everyone that we know, if they don't have a podcast in some relation to ICP, it's not a part of Howdy Inc.
But I mean, that's how we all met. That's how we all got, turned on to each other in the first place. And we all started doing this like as an influence from ICP. Yeah. So it is what it is. That's what we have in common. That's what we have to talk about. I love the idea of what they're doing now. I think it's a really cool thing. I think they have a good chance because there's like, some ICP juggalo like YouTubers out there. They like, they do this kind of thing, but on a higher budget than what we do. And I think Kyle has the means to be better than what they are. So I hope Kyle
didn't like the juggalo thing like go over like a Trump thing. Didn't that happen at one point during his inaugural?
I know exactly what you're referring to. There at one point a year or so ago, there was a thing in Washington DC called a Juggalo March, because I didn't expect to get into this, but let's talk about it just real quick. There was because juggalos, who that's what a fan of ICP is referred to as. It's just it's a nickname that whatever. But juggalos are on the FBI gang list, which is absolutely ridiculous. They think that because you listen to Insane Clown Posse that you are a part of a gang. I have Insane Clown Posse tattoos on my body. Therefore, technically, by the FBI, I am a gang member because of that. So, and that's the most ridiculous thing ever. So ICP set up this big Juggalo March thing. Come to Washington, D.C. Let's get together and protest this, which is cool. Like, I'm glad that they did something like that because something should be done about it. That's absurd that that's the way that it is. So they had however many people show up for that thing. At the same time, in D.C., there was also like this he was already president at this point. Trump was. Or maybe he was elected already, but hadn't actually became into office yet. I forget exactly.
I think it was his.
It wasn't the inauguration. It was not. No, that was a bigger thing. It was not that. It was a different, just pro-Trump rally of some sort. And the Juggalo March had a better turnout than the pro-Trump rally did. So that's fantastic. Yeah. But it didn't do any good. I'm still a gang member. So
yeah, okay.
But yeah, Kyle's new one is up, so check that out. It's probably also on keezy.com.
Yes.
Anything else?
No.
Cool. Let's be done here.
Yes. Longest outro ever.
Oh.
I'm gonna put a stupid intro.
You should send Taggart a message and be like, hey, you should still do the intro, because he's done the intro the last 2 weeks and it's been nice not having to come up with the intro.
So tell him that.
Yeah, it's all right.
You sure?
So that's my show.
Here we go.
I was watching the
Here, you do the intro.
I was watching the Young Bucks beat up the Lucha Bros.
So here to say, I like the last 2 weeks better because Taggart did the intro.
I really like the last 2 weeks better because Taggart did the intro.
Really like the last 2 weeks.
Cool.
Coolsies. But yeah, I go put on the Xbox because of love and stuff.
I can't say yes at the moment.
Okay.
So no.
Okay.
Mom will be home here soon, and then we're gonna figure out what our day looks like. From there, maybe